it's once again panel time. Joining us for this hour's panel, we have Jessica Tarlov, Democratic political strategist with Doug Schoen, LLC, and our friend Noelle Nikpour, Republican strategist and a columnist with the Sun Sentinel, and I think we should get right to it. Let's start with Nicole. Nicole, we saw President Bush on television this morning extolling the virtues of his brother Jeb as a potential candidate for president. What do you think? Is Jeb Bush your man?
You know, I think Jeb Bush is looking really good. There are a lot of people that are excited about Jeb Bush, especially a lot of people in the establishment. And also, I think that he might do something really nice when it comes to comprehensive immigration reform.
Well, actually, that raises the question. The two issues that most seem to aggravate the conservative base that votes in Republican primaries is comprehensive immigration reform and Common Core standards in education, which are done nationally and implemented locally. Now, given that Jeb Bush is on the wrong side of both of those issues, how much trouble would he have in a Republican primary?
Jessica, what do you think about that? You probably agree that he's on the wrong side of everything, yes?
No, actually, I mean, I fear him a lot less than I fear a lot of others. So I'm not saying that I would love to have another Bush as president, but he's a lot less threatening because of his stance on particularly those two issues. But he seems generally just like a competent, reasonable man who would be willing to work in a bipartisan way. And frankly, I wish that he had been elected president instead of his brother in the first place.
Isn't that interesting? You know, I hear this actually from a lot of Democrats, and I'll be honest and include myself. We might not vote for Jeb Bush, but we probably still sleep all right at night. Noelle,
exactly.
Is that a good thing?
You know, one of the big voter grabs is going to be the moderate vote. And I think that even though Jeb Bush appeals to a lot of the establishment people, I think that, you know, and John is right, there are a lot of concerns on immigration reform, and I think if Republicans were smart, we'd pick up the ball and take charge on this, because if we keep being the party of no, we're not really going to attract people to our party. And let's face it, we need those votes, and we also need the votes of moderates. So the question's going to be is, Jeb Bush, can he raise money from moderates? What's he going to be able to, you know, pull as far as, you know, donor bases? I actually think that Jeb Bush could be a real good, formative candidate.
Look, I believe Jeb Bush is one of the absolute best governors Florida ever had, and much of its strength and dynamism as a state is due to his administration. However, I'm really amused by all of this love bombing of Jeb Bush by Democrats. I remember when Democrats used to love bomb John McCain. They couldn't be happy enough with his independence and his forthright way of speaking. And then as soon as he announced for president, and as soon as he was the Republican candidate for president, whap! Boy, was he the worst person on the face of the earth. So I think we better be a little careful of this fake praise from Democrats.
Jessica, what were you saying to what John said?
I was saying, I mean, John McCain picked up someone by his side that Democrats really couldn't get behind.
No, this was before Sarah Palin. Yeah. This was in the primaries they were beating him up.
I mean, John McCain and Jeb Bush are different beasts to me.
Although when it comes to the general election, they will be the same enemy.
Noelle, it seems to me you're more supportive of a Jeb Bush candidate than my friend John Fund here. What's the deal?
Well, no, I think what John is saying is there are some issues raised about Jeb Bush. A lot of people like Jeb Bush, but as far as, you know, Democrats praise him, but John is exactly right. When game on, when it's time to really run, when they're in a heated primary, you're not going to see the Democrat love. The Democrat love it's going to go towards the Democrats and the Democrat nominee.
So let's sneak in another quick question before we have to end this particular part of the panel. I know you'll both be back later on. 1%, man. The 1% seems to be doing awfully well in Barack Obama's economy. Maybe not so much for the 99%. Jessica, what's going on there? How come we can't seem to get everybody doing a little bit better?
Well, I think that there are some long-term changes that need to be made so that everyone can do better, which Democrats want to do, like education reform. We want more labor mobility and things like that. But I think also, I mean, this conversation came out of this huge spike in the stock market, but we also have to think about the fact that middle-income people, they are also invested. Yes, they're not making as much as the 1% because they didn't have as much to invest in the first place, but they have 401ks, they have pension funds, they're in mutual funds, and I just don't think Obama's been as bad for the middle class as the Republicans would make it out to be.
Well, look, pensions and 401ks are fine when you're retiring, but right now when people are struggling to pay bills, you know what? 85% of the stocks are owned by 10% of the people. So a rising tide in the stock market doesn't lift all boats.
So guys, Noelle and Jessica will both be back with John and I for another segment. When we do return, though, we have White House correspondent for the Daily Caller, Neil Monroe, who's going to come and spend some time with us. Friend of yours, John?
I've enjoyed Neil's conversations with President Obama on a regular basis.
Well, see, there you have it. Neil Monroe, when we come back. Don't go anywhere.